Seasoning food. What exactly does that mean? And how important is it really? Hi, I'm Murray from the YSC Cookery School, where we help you to sharpen your skills in the kitchen and keep your cookery journey moving forward. In this video, I'm going to explain about seasoning and why it really is vital to becoming a great cook. Now, of the 30 or so recurring principles that we use as part of our strategy for transforming our students' cooking, this simple principle about seasoning really does float quite close to the top. It does have an effect on everything that you cook. It's a habit that needs embedding into everything that you cook, and your conscience really does need to nag you as you're preparing any recipe. Now, being meticulous about tasting food as you go along and correcting the seasoning constantly where it's necessary is that small detail that takes everything that you cook from being nice to being excitingly good. My German wife's constantly reminding me of a great German quote that nice is the little sister of shit. So really trying to make this little effort and taste everything before you put it onto the plate. Ask yourself, can this be any better? And often it might just be as simple as adding a little bit more salt and pepper. The term adjusting the seasoning simply means that you taste something and then you enhance or balance out the flavour until the flavour is perfect. In the West, most of the time we use salt and pepper or occasionally a little bit of sugar. In the East, you tend to use a wider range of products for balancing out the flavour or seasoning. Chinese food, for example, uses a lot of soy sauce instead of salt for that saltiness. Thai dishes usually balance out hot, sour, salty and sweet with chili, lime, fish sauce and palm sugar, for example. Now, something that's quite important to understand is that adding salt to a dish doesn't just make a piece of food more salty until you add too much salt. Okay, it brings out and enhances the flavour that's already there. Adding salt will simply highlight the flavour that's already in the piece of food. You'll actually be surprised how much salt you can add and how much more you can enhance the flavour before you'll over season the dish and it will become too salty. When students first learn to cook, they're often surprised by how much salt and pepper goes into a dish to get it to the point where it's really correctly seasoned. And it's probably the main reason why restaurant food often tastes better than food at home. Now, without going into too much detail about the function of salt in the body and whether we should be cutting salt from our diet and cutting down, I just want to say this. It's worth noting that there's a lot more salt and, more importantly, a lot of other detrimental additives and chemicals in modern convenience food. Another thing that's really important to consider when you're seasoning is what happens next in the recipe process and when is the right time to add seasoning to a dish. If you're making a stock or a soup, for example, then you should always season at the end before you serve it. Okay, and that's the same for any recipe that requires reduction, i.e. Simmering down and reducing off some of the water. As the reduction process happens, the flavour becomes richer and more concentrated, and if you've already put the salt in at the start, then the dish will become too salty by the time you're ready to use it. If you're cooking pasta or potatoes or something like that, then the salt needs to go into the water. So as the pasta cooks or the potatoes cook, they absorb salt and you sort of season right through. That's really important. A piece of meat or a steak or chicken or a piece of fish, we really do season it quite heavily, salt and pepper, quite heavily before we cook it. And that will really help to elevate the dish. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope it helps. It really is that straightforward, and it's just a case of paying attention to it as you go along. If you've got any questions or comments regarding this video or anything else you've seen on our channel, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you'd like to see more from us with our weekly clips on helping to transform your cooking. Thanks for watching. See you soon.